A single 5-day antibiotic course was shown to wipe out 30% of your gut bacteria, also known as probiotics. Probiotics is the name we give to the collection of bacteria and microorganisms that live in our guts, and that's why we call it the microbiome. And our microbiome very strongly affects our skin health, our body weight, and even our mood, which is why we call the gut our second brain. Your brain health or your mood is mainly controlled by your gut via the vagus nerve, which is like a highway that connects those two organs. In fact, the majority of your happy hormones or happy neurotransmitters, those chemicals in your brain that make you feel good, are actually created in your gut. 90% of serotonin and 50% of dopamine are created in your gut. The fact that probiotics play such a huge role in our body weight means that we really need to pay attention to them if we are to truly be healthy and fit over a long period of time. To further stress this point, you may want to learn about the case of a woman who received a fecal transplant, and yes, that is code for getting poop injected into your butt, and that is used for very resistant cases of a certain infection. And that woman became overweight after never ever struggling with her weight before. She became overweight by around 30 pounds, which is the same exact amount of weight that the donor was overweight by. So now that I have your attention, what should you do to improve your microbiome? Number one, eliminate sugars and artificial sweeteners, because those are like fertilizer for the bad guys. They're fertilizer for the bad bacteria and bad yeast and fungi that grow in our gut. Number two, manage your stress levels. Number three, eliminate or minimize as much as possible any processed food. Anything that comes out of a package is not really food. It's a science fair project. Food should be whole. It should come from nature, and it shouldn't have an ingredient list. And that's because a poor diet leads to inflammation, which disturbs the balance of your microbiome. Number four, you want to minimize as much as possible pain medications such as Tylenol or Aleve. Number five, minimize or eliminate any unnecessary use of antibiotics unless it's a dire situation and it's the last resort and nothing else works. That's because a single 5-day antibiotic course has been shown to wipe out around 30% of your gut bacteria. And a lot of the times, those bacteria cannot repopulate the gut. Also, be aware of antibacterial dish liquid and antibacterial hand sanitizers, because those products contain triclosan, which can kill off the good bacteria that colonizes our skin and provides us with a defense system. Number six, you want to eat more fermented foods such as kimchi, sauerkraut, olives, pickles, and kombucha. Commercially sold yogurt and kefir are not recommended because most of the time they are pasteurized, and then on top of that they add sugars or artificial sweeteners to them. If you have gut imbalances, however, I would not recommend that you introduce fermented foods at this stage. It's best to wait until you heal the gut and then you can introduce some fermented foods. Another thing that can upset your microbiome would be taking drugs such as anti-inflammatory drugs and antacids. And the last important step is to take probiotics. Just make sure that you fix leaky gut or any gut imbalances before you start a heavy dose probiotic protocol, and make sure you take your probiotic pills either on an empty stomach or 15 to 20 minutes before a meal, because you don't want your stomach acid to kill off those bacteria. What are the things you want to look out for when choosing what type of probiotic is best for you? First, make sure it's enteric coated, because that protects the bacteria from stomach acid. However, it might be a little bit on the expensive side. Another option would be to look into acid-resistant probiotic strains, because 97% of those bacteria and make it until they reach your large intestine or colon. Also, even though prebiotic and probiotic mixes are very popular, it might not be the best thing, because when you add prebiotic to the probiotic capsule, that could increase water or humidity levels, and that can affect the biological activity of the probiotic. Now, with regards to the delivery system that you want to look for, the powdered probiotics are probably not the best option because the moment you open the package and you expose that to the air and the oxygen, it starts to degrade the probiotics rather quickly. A nitrogen purge blister pack is a great option because that prevents the rest of the probiotics in your product to be exposed to oxygen. Acid-resistant vegetable capsules or DR or delayed release probiotic capsules are also great because they resist the stomach acid degradation of the probiotic. It's also a good idea to rotate different types of probiotics because different probiotic strains can have different effects in your gut. And it's also okay to take a break from your probiotic supplementation protocol because probiotics is just like vitamin D in that it can build up in your body. With regards to some probiotic strains that you want to look for, the following are good choices. Bifidus lactimalis, also known as B420, affects your waist circumference, your blood sugar levels, and your body weight in a favorable manner. Bifidobacterium longum is found in large amounts in centenarians. Lactobacillus rhamnosus is heavily studied and can dramatically decrease anxiety and social anxiety levels. And Saccharomyces cerevisiae boulardii, or S. boulardii, is a great type of yeast or fungi that can counter an overgrowth of Candida albicans in the gut. The one probiotic that's very popular that I want you to pay attention to is the Lactobacillus acidophilus. That's the kind of probiotic that's found in yogurt, and unfortunately, it's added to a lot of probiotics as a cheap filler, and it's not really the best one that you want to take in because it overgrows in the gut really quickly and it crowds out everything else, and it could be pro-inflammatory as well. In other words, it's really used as a cheap filler in your probiotic. So that's not really what I would recommend you look for. For your convenience, I will link in the description box below a bunch of probiotic brands that I think are high quality, and that'll save you some time shopping for certain brands that you may want to look into. With regards to the dosage of the probiotic, the more you take, the better. And probiotics are described with CFUs, or colony forming units. So if you're taking an antibiotic, you want to at least take in 50 billion CFUs per capsule. You could even take that up to 90 billion CFUs. If you're struggling with an inflammatory digestive issue such as inflammatory bowel disease or ulcerative colitis or Crohn's, then you may even need much higher amounts such as 150 or even 300 billion CFUs. Now, to reach those really high amounts, you might need to see a doctor to prescribe you VSL number 3. That is a very strong prescription requiring, in most states, type of probiotic that is going to give you those heavy dosages of the probiotic. I hope you liked this video. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell so you're alerted the very next time I post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.